Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? I am Alicia Johnson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you. We're getting off to a later start tonight, but thank you so much for popping in. We had a few technical difficulties in the beginning, so I did a whole dynamic lesson, but y'all gonna get it the second time. So the second time is gonna be even more exciting. So welcome to you all this evening. I am Alicia Johnson, and welcome to the Alicia Johnson YouTube channel. And we are continuing on tonight with the forgiveness work. We are continuing on tonight with forgiving ourselves for all of the things in our lives that are keeping us stuck. Here on this channel, here in this little corner of YouTube, this is where we do all of the things recalibrating our lives 12 hours for God and 12 hours for man. And this 30-day process, we're now at day 23. We are operating and using the tool of journaling to move us through the process. And so we are dealing with the topic of forgiveness. We are now at day 23, and we are tonight discussing forgiving those you thought had it all together. Assignment: reread your dedication so that you will remain pinpoint accurate in your journaling focus. Make a list of all the people who disappointed you for making you think they had it all together. Why? Removing the illusion that any one person has discovered all the answers to this thing called life frees you to level the playing field in your mind. Benefit: letting those people down off the pedestal of your mind allows you the opportunity to create the life you truly desire without experiencing the burden of trying to determine the right and wrong way to do things. We're all learning as we go. Day 23: forgiving those you thought had it all together. Tonight, just like all of the other nights, this is your responsibility. This is your responsibility to begin to identify all of the people in your life that you thought had it all together, and you have put them on a pedestal. You have put them up high. You have put them in a place where, oh my gosh, I'll never be as good as them. Oh my goodness, I will never be as powerful as they are. And this is one of the things that we have to get a grip on. This is one of the things that we have to get a grip on. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Hey, we had a few technical difficulties in the beginning, but we are here now. So glad to see all of you. Thank you for popping in. So, how many people have you thought? How many people have you thought that had it all together, and then over the course of time, you realize that they didn't? When God began to deal with me on recalibrating aspects of my life that I felt were just out of control, God began to help me to see the areas where I continued to place people on pedestals that did not deserve to be placed there. This was like through every area of my life. And it was very interesting. It was very fascinating when God began to reveal these things, because it started like back in elementary school, junior high school, and on and on. There were always areas, every area that I entered into, I always found that one or two people, those one or two people that I thought had it all together, and I would just place them above me, and they became my marker. Over the course of time, this was very important, that God began to help me to free myself from my perceived limitations. The perceived limitations that I had was that everyone in some capacity was greater than me. And the first example of this, when God started to unravel this for me, when God started to break all of these facades down, it took me back to when I was in school, and there was this one teacher, and she seemed perfect. Like, She was always well made up. She was always well manicured. She always dressed well. She had the perfect husband. Her husband would come and meet her for lunch and bring her lunch, and they would have picnics out on the little grassy area. It was just, oh, so lovely. And they had the perfect little daughter, and the daughter was just like brilliant. And so it was all of these things, right? So years later, and this is so interesting, that how God will reveal things at the time that you need to learn them, at the time that you need to know them. So over the course of time, it came out that her perfect little daughter, the one that was getting like the stellar academic reviews and the one that was so brilliant, mama was actually paying the teachers to fix the grades, to make the grades higher, to make her look like a 4.0 student. The teacher also got divorced, so that ruined that perfect marriage. All of these things that she had you thinking were perfect were all illusions. And this kept happening over and over and over again in various areas of my life, where God had to dismantle these illusions that I had so that I could start to see the reality of things. And when God began to show me this reality, and this is not just for me, this is for everyone. When you begin to understand that everyone has flaws, there is not one perfect person on this planet. There is a fighting chance for you, and there is a fighting chance for me. All of us can win. Every single one of us can win. This is why social media is so fascinating to me. Oh my gosh. Social media will have you. This is why you have to pay attention to social media, and you have to have a great sense of discernment to understand what the world's usage for it is, why the world is pushing social media so heavily, and to pay attention to the things that are happening now, and to follow the trend to see how it's going to end up in 15 or 20 years, because it is not going to be nice. It is not going to be nice. This virtual reality that the world is pushing towards is really going to damage people. We were not designed to live virtually. We were designed to live in real life. We were designed to have feelings. We were designed to overcome. We were designed to learn how to maneuver different situations. We were designed to be social. We were designed to be in community. This gives us an opportunity to begin to understand what is happening and to use the world as our playground instead of having the world play with us. This is why I constantly teach 12 hours for God, 12 hours for man. You use the 12 hours for God to go into the world and prove that heaven is right. You do not allow the 12 hours for man to influence your 12 hours for God. This is how so many of us miss the mark. This is how so many of us get off track, because we are allowing the world to influence our secret places too much. The world will stifle you. The world will prevent you from moving ahead because of all of these illusions that the world paints. All of these images and all of these. I mean, okay, so for example, people that purport themselves to be like, oh, I'm a boss this, I'm a dad, I'm doing it all. I cook, I clean, the kids look well manicured, the family, the house, the this, the that. A lot of people on social media are like one camera angle away from destruction. Just one camera angle away from destruction. And then there's some people on social media that have absolutely no filters, and that is just as damaging as those that are trying to overly perfect everything. There has to be a balance to all of this. And the key is allowing God to give you that balance. When we start to compare our real lives to manufactured lives, we're never going to win. Never going to win. I'll never forget, if you Google it, if I put the name out there, you would know, you could find it. But there's this one social media person just killing the game. And so she came out, she had written a book. She had written a book. And she was, oh my gosh, she had like truckloads of this book being delivered. You know how they show the behind the scenes or whatever. And she was like, hey, everybody, the books are coming out. And, like basically she was going to be balling. She was going to become like this best selling author. She was going to be this. She was going to be that. She was going, oh, this book is going, da, 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 da. Go, read this book so you can change your life. Read this book so you can learn how to be successful like me. Read this book, whatever, whatever, whatever. The book got into the hands of a few people. I don't even know what few is in it as it relates to like the social media world, but it got into the hands of quite a few people. People started reading this book. People started like doing like snippets of what was in the book, and then started pulling the snippets from the original authors. The majority of the book was plagiarized. The majority of the book was plagiarized. Oh my goodness, the scandal. But she had this image that she had it all together. She had this image that she was doing it. She had this image that if you want to be like me, then you need to get my book so you can learn everything. Oh, they dragged this girl like nobody's business. But she had everyone thinking that she was doing it all. I'm an author, I'm a business owner, I'm this, I'm that. Just, oh my gosh. I want to aspire to be you because you're like so close to perfection. She didn't write her book. And then she blamed it on her team because she was like, everything, everything. It's just so much. It's just so much. And there's no way that I can keep track of everything. So she's backpedaling now because at one point in the process, she was the boss. She was on top of everything. She was doing it all. But then when this one little piece fell apart, it was like, it's just too much. I just can't keep up with everything. So either you're keeping up with everything and you're the boss, or you're not. Let's choose a side here. But that was very disheartening to a lot of people because people had put her up on this pedestal. And this was a very humbling process for her. And so, she had to do all of the damage control and she had to do all of those things. And it was just very interesting. And she's not the only one. She is not the only one. You can just go through and find people for yourself. There are people out here that make situations look so easy. But then you're trying to do things the way that they said that they did them. And you feel even worse because you're not meeting or matching their results. And you've seen this so many times before. And I personally don't feel that you need to put all of your pleasure, all of your pain. Social media doesn't deserve all of anything. But if you so choose to put it out there, and you have a responsibility to the public because you are a air quote public figure, you bear a responsibility to operate in truth. That's not the way it works, but you do have a responsibility because you have to understand that the world calls you, if you will, influencers. And because you do have this title, you have to understand that everyone that you're influencing is not as strong as you may think that they are. So there are some people out here that can be heavily damaged by your lack of integrity, heavily damaged by the lies that you tell, heavily damaged by the things that you purport yourself to be that you're not. The biggest one of the big ones for me, people that have like they're on a weight loss journey and they start to lose weight, and then they say that they've done this diet, they've done that diet, they've worked out, they have a personal trainer, so they have people following them to think that, yeah, this is going to get me there. She did it, I can do it. He did it, I can do it. And then you find out like 6, 7, 8, 9 months later that they had like surgery. It's like, wait a minute. You got me up here like eating like 2 calories a day and drinking water and just like eating air, exercising until I faint, trying to keep up with some program that you're not even following. No, sir. No, ma'am. That is not right. This is why it is so important that we each and every one of us, we give ourselves a fighting chance. We give ourselves a fighting chance. At that point, when God started to show me all of these little things, and God started to show me the error of my ways, God started to show me how I was restricting my life because I was waiting and trying to be perfect, like I thought somebody else was perfect. And then society has, and I feel bad for people that set themselves up in this way. They have the image of the perfect marriage. They have the image of the perfect family. They have the image of the perfect career. They have all of this. And then when something happens and they break down, it's like, I'm human, everyone. I'm human. I want you to understand. Well, you haven't built yourself up to be human. You have placed yourself above and beyond everyone. So where do you want us to place you? You want to be human now and then you want to go back up on the pedestal, whatever it is. And what God showed me, I just knocked everybody off the pedestal. I knocked every single person off the pedestal. I didn't care if you were a rabbi, a priest, a nun, the president, the vice president. I It didn't matter. Everybody got knocked off their pedestals that day. Everybody. I am not impressed. I'm not impressed. I am not impressed. Everyone has some form of a struggle, and I am not or any longer going to be duped by the fact or the perceived fact that you have it all together. I'm not going to fall for that. So once I knocked everybody off the pedestal, it leveled the playing field. It leveled the playing field. Of course, there are people that know more than you in certain areas, but there are things that I also know more of than other people. So there you go. Find that one thing or two things or however many things that God has given you that you do really well, and just work the wheels off of that thing. And then be humble enough and willing enough to learn everything else that you need to learn. Pay attention. Pay attention. If you are on this planet, which we all are if we're watching right now, and you have breath in your body, We all have a contribution to make. I don't care what side of the track you were born on. I don't care if you were born on the track, under the track. I don't care what race. I don't care what gender. I don't care what nationality. I don't even care what planet you're from. If you have breath in your body, we all have a contribution to make. But see, society has done such a number on us. And I used to do this. I don't do this anymore, but I used to do this. Oh my gosh. And they would perpetuate this, especially at work. They would send out these little cryptic emails. You knew what they meant. Just FYI, such and such will be in the office tomorrow. So that was code for be on time, dress right, act right, and clean up your stations. And we're taught to jump for certain people. We're taught to act right and straighten up. We should be doing these things anyway. We should be doing our best regardless. We should be showing up for ourselves in that way. We should be doing everything that we're doing as though we're doing it unto God, which we are. I should not have to get my attitude together because Mr. or Miss such and such is coming through. I should be on my best behavior. I should be authentically who I am all the time because God is ever present. God is there when Mr. or Ms. such and such is not there. God is there when you're all by yourself. This is why it is so important that tonight, as you're doing this forgiveness work, forgive yourself. Let yourself off the hook. Look, God, I apologize. I apologize for putting all these yahoos on a pedestal and putting myself under the pedestal. I'm tired of holding up the pedestals for other people. I want to see who you've created me to be. If anyone's going to be on a pedestal, it's going to be me and God. Everyone deserves their moment in the sun. Everyone deserves their moment of excellence, but not at the expense of other people, not at the expense of making other people feel bad. So tonight, yes, plead insanity. Lord, I just didn't know. I played insanity. So I was like, look, I done put Lord Jesus. I made a list. I made a list of all the people, and it was absolutely insane. All of the people that I had put on the list and the reasons I had put them on the list. I put them on the list because they were smart. They had a higher GPA than me. I put them on the list because of their title. I put them on the list because they make so much money. I put them on the list because I thought that they were prettier. I put them on the list because I thought that they were more fit. I put them on the list because I thought they were healthier. I put them on whatever reason I put them on the list. And that one little thing that I had elevated them for, I allowed that one thing to diminish all of their shortcomings. And God was like, give every aspect of their personality equal time. Okay, they may be very good at this, but look at all of the other areas that make up their lives. There may be someone that is killing it at your job. Oh my gosh, they're getting all the awards. They are getting the promotions, they're getting all of these things, they're getting the mentions in the newsletters, they are being applauded by their colleagues. It's amazing. But their family life is suffering. So they might have a 10 a gold star in this area, but they like on red in relationships. Or you have someone that is like, oh my gosh, Miss Better Homes and Garden. Every cabinet is in order. The kids are on point with their assignments. They always look together. Those parts are straight. I mean, oh my goodness, impeccable. Everything is perfect. Meals on the table, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The parents that they do they cut out the little cucumbers in the cute little shapes. Everything is organized. They put the little notes in the lunch box. They do all of these things. It's like, oh my gosh, they're just like the mega mom. I knew some of these, and they were just straight up alcoholics. Like they would drink all day, drink all day long. Functioning alcoholics, but nonetheless alcoholics. True story. I'll never forget one of my girlfriends when we were talking about, we had this conversation about forgiving people that you thought had it all together. And she said one of her struggles was because she was a single mom and she lived in an apartment, and one of her girlfriends was also a single mom. And she was like, oh my goodness. She said after the kids got older and everything, she said, yeah, I have to admit, I was a little envious. I was just barely holding it together. I'm trying to do this, but then I'm looking at you, and you had like even less help than I did, but you were killing it. You were at the PTA meetings, you were doing everything the girls needed you to do. Girl, you were running that house like it was like two or three, four of y'all up in there. And she was like, really? Her girlfriend was just looking at her stuff. And she said, well, how did you do it? The girl said, I was on crack. She said literally, she was a crackhead. She was functioning. I mean, since that time, she had recovered and everything. She said that was the only way she could do it. She was literally on drugs during that entire period because that was the only way she could cope. But my friend was actually putting her up on a pedestal because it looked like she was just knocking it out the ballpark. So tonight, as you are going through, forgive all those people. It's not a game out here. It is not a game. There are a lot of people struggling and trying to have this image that just does not exist. I could come on here I won't. I could take the time that I need to take and get all made up and put on all of the, just come polished to the nines every night. Oh my goodness, how do you do this every night at 8 o'clock? I'd be lying to everybody. Okay. I would be lying to the whole world because that's not me. Be authentically who you are. And when you step into the truth of who God has created you to be, the thing that you excel at will easily overshadow, if you will, your deficiencies. Alicia Johnson will not be on here teaching an organization class. It won't be happening. Alicia Johnson will not be on here teaching makeup tutorials. It will not be happening. I do not need anyone out here in this world to think that I am perfect at everything. I do a few things very well, and I'm proud of that. But God has blessed me so much so that for the things that I don't do very well, God has surrounded me with an entire army of people who do things very well in the areas that I'm not so good at. And this is why we need community. This is why we cannot be isolated and consider yourself self-made. You will never hear me say, I'm a self-made anything. My talents, my gifts can only get us so far. Once I get to that place, then heaven is going to introduce additional assistance to take us even further. And this is not just for me, this is for everyone. The skill set that you possess is only going to take you so far. And at some point, when you tap out and you maximize that place, then heaven will advance you. But don't go into anything thinking that I'm going to do this all by myself. Because in that case, you have placed yourself on a pedestal. So knock your own self down. The only place, the only entity, if you will, that is deserving of being on that pedestal is God. That is where you get your direction. That is where you identify the plan. That is where you get your daily instruction. Other than that, everybody else gets knocked down just like bowling pins. So y'all have fun with this one tonight. Y'all make that list and just mentally just knock them down. Just stack them up like bowling pins and roll that ball. Just knock them down. Everybody comes off the pedestal tonight. So I want to thank you all. I apologize for the late start. Actually, I did start on time, but it was like nobody on here. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? I knew y'all wouldn't just leave me out here by myself. So tomorrow night we will continue on. We will be at day 24. So do your work tonight and be excited. Plead insanity. It works very well. And raise yourself up a little bit higher because we all have work to do. Love you all. Sweet dreams. And I'll see some of y'all in the morning at 5 a.m. So sweet dreams, get your rest. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow night. Love you all.